Chondro Corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
From the shadows we move, striking out bright. In every twist we find the light. Breeding the best, gotta have patience in this game. Chondro Corner where we make our name. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner. Chondro Corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Chondro Corner on the Herp Collectors Network. Before we bring Amy in from Happy Basins, we're going to just kick to the comments real quick and say hello to everybody who's on. Bosa, good evening. My partner in crime, Ro. What's up, fam? The goat in the house. Hey, Amy. Ghost01, thank you for coming on. Another supporter. Thank you, Santos, for coming on. Actually, early, too. Sometimes you're a little late, but it's okay. I get it. Keys from Whiskey Bomb Network, thank you for coming on. Will from the Python Portal, thank you for coming on. Richard Kensinger, thank you. Sammy, what's up? What's going on, friend? B-Lock, thank you for coming on. And James Perry, thank you as well for tuning in tonight. So without further ado, as some of you probably know already, Amy has quite the collection for her emeralds, and she also does quite a bit of traveling. So we're going to bring her on and talk about her passion. Hi, Amy.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I'm so excited. First of all, I love your background. I think I already told you that 20 million times if I could.
Thank you.
So let's just get started. What got you into emeralds? Were you keeping other species prior to that, or did you just shoot straight for those?
We shot straight for the emeralds, for the basins. I had snakes. As a kid, I had a neighbor in an apartment complex who had a big, Monty the Python was his name, and he had his own room. And I got to be the cool kid. I was allowed to invite my friends over and to show them the snake, and the couple always let me handle them, and they loved how much I loved the animal. And I just kind of got a snaky reputation. That was like the summer between 4th and 5th grade when I met that animal. And then I got a little, I lived in Tucson. I'm from Tucson. And I got a little gopher snake that somebody was selling. So I carried that around with me everywhere. And then my daughter had a little ball python when she was 5. She's 32 now. So that was a long time ago. And that animal lasted about 2 years before we left her outside. We forgot about her when we had her outside one day. And then it had been 27 years since I even touched a snake. And my husband had never touched a snake. And we just decided I really wanted a snake over a series of events that I did. Decided I wanted a snake, and I had chose the false water cobra because it looked so cool. And I saw a lot of videos on YouTube and Facebook about this. I was looking up the most social snakes, and you could see pictures of it like choosing what food it wanted. And then my husband read on that they're very messy, and he said he just wanted a face that he looked at and fell in love with. So he came up with these emeralds. I never even heard of them. I never even knew such a beautiful snake existed that was non-venomous.
Yeah.
So that's how we ended up with the emeralds. And we went through a lot to find one. And then because of all the work I did on the front end trying to find one, we started over the next 2 years even getting messages and emails back from people. So it just happened now. We went from these little enclosures that we were trying to keep them in and do stuff to what we have now. and it all happened very, very fast.
So
This is an
oh, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
So
What
how
was your
many are you guys up to?
I think I have 8 basins
Mm-hmm.
eight. I have 9 basins and 3 northerns. And I ended up with the northerns just by the first one I was rehabilitating for a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell in love with the animal, and I was really struggling to return the animal only because I knew that the reason she wasn't able to give it the best care, because she's so busy. She's always going back and forth from this city and that city. So even though she was rehabilitated, I knew at any moment she could take the animal back because I was just doing it as a favor.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be able to make the animal promises. And so we offered her an non-resistible amount for the wild caught northern, So she did it. And then I got another one at the Tinley Expo the weekend before last, that my husband and I both absolutely knew the very second that she was coming home with us.
That is beautiful. So how old is that one?
This is Ningishsida, and she is going on 6 years old. And it wasn't until she was a little over 5 years old that we even found out she was a female, because we got her as a male. So that was a really pleasant surprise. She's so super sweet. They're all so super sweet. Folks say that the emeralds are not super sweet. And then I'm like, well, look what I do with my basins. Everybody who comes to my house holds 7 of them at one time. They're complete and total ambassadors. And then they're like, well, those are basins. But like you said, I travel, and I have been in the last 3.5 years, 11 times to the Amazon rainforest. And I've worked with 32 one wild Batisi and 31 wild northerns. And every single one of them has been able to be like this after maybe 20 minutes of, trust exercises. So it's not just northerns, but I will tell you that these northerns that I have here at my house, who have been through the entire process of exportation and getting here, they are not the same as the ones that are straight out of the trees in the wild. They are definitely have some PTSD.
Yeah.
So I'm not a doctor of that, but
no, but the assumption would be that they take longer to build that trust, probably, I'm assuming. Safely.
Yes.
I mean, it is very docile in your hands. That's an amazing example of exactly how handleable the species can be.
And this one has a really super long, there's a camera up there, snout, like an extra long snout. She's just beautiful. And I had said so many times I wish she was a female, and she is. So who's this one, Zoltus? So this is Zoltus coming in too, and he's a male. He's the same age as her. They're from completely different parts of the country, so they are not related. Although I do have animals that are related. Oh, that's why
He's trying to bring his dad right into the camera too.
Yes, actually, I have another basin coming tomorrow. That's why I couldn't count, because I was trying to remember who am I forgetting, and I do have another one coming tomorrow morning. So I have 10 basins. Yeah, he's really big for a female, and it's actually his litter mate that's coming tomorrow. No, I'm good. Thank you, love. So yeah, Zoltus's brother is coming tomorrow. So he's super excited about that. And Zoltus and Isis, my Isis, are brother and sister, litter mates. And they are going on 8 years old.
That is incredible.
And I've been on 2 of these live shows where twice 2 different couples snakes started mating right in my hands live. So I do have a male and female here, but they're super hungry. They're so ready to eat, but they can't eat till tomorrow night.
So you obviously have bred them. How many clutch or litters have you had?
I have only had one litter, and it was a great success because I had one survivor. And my Isis, she's like the queen of this jungle room.
Mm-hmm.
And she hadn't hardly ever been locked in a cage. She just runs free in this room. I have tons of plants in here to keep my humidity up. And she didn't have the right temperatures that she needed. So her gestation went 12 days over the longest known gestation. And my theory is because she didn't have the right temperature. Some folks theorize that it's because I handle my animals and cause them too much stress, but she was not handled when she was pregnant. And besides that, they take to handling perfectly fine. So that's hard to believe.
I would think that it would be more of the temps and humidity than.
Yes, it was the temperatures. So we did
very adjusted.
Yes, absolutely. And we did have one survivor after a 192-day gestation, and we were actually taking her that very day to another state to drive 10 hours away for her to have a surgery to have the babies removed because everybody said there was no way there was a survivor in there. And so I desperately tried to massage the babies out of her in the rain shower so that I didn't have to have them cut out of her.
Yeah.
And it worked. But I kind of have a theory that had I not done that, that she may have had more live babies because I think my massaging, I think I would have had more live babies. I could have had a real record. But yes, we have one. And then I have another one right now. She's 141 days pregnant. And their gestation is typically between 130 and 180. So she can have babies right this second.
Yeah, you could get off this podcast and go see babies.
But I think they usually have them in the morning.
Jared from Selective Creations wrote, how old are each of those and how long does it take for them to reach that size?
These guys right here, this super active one is a male and he's going on 8 years old. He'll be 8, I think in September or October. So he's just over 7 years old. And then Gishsada here is about 5.5 years old. And they seem to be growing at a really good rapid rate for about 3 years, and then it really slows down. I have seen some good growth through the 4th year, but these ones that are 5, they're growing pretty slow. They were pretty much as big as they were going to get at that time.
What kind of enclosures are you keeping them in?
We've gone through all different kinds of enclosures. Right now we have a really special build in here. I guess you can't really see it on there, but they're big cabinets with sliding glass doors. Mm-hmm. And the bottoms have RV shower pans in them so that we can have plants and rain system and misting system all within their enclosures.
Holy
and
cow.
Then I keep, like the adult bed pads at the bottom of, not these. That's in my other enclosures that don't have the rain showers in them.
I mean, but those are still nice.
Yes, the other ones are still really nice. And I keep them, everything with plants in it. So you can see I'm not keeping dirt or anything at the bottom. Everything's in potted plants and, has pans under them and stuff.
Those are
because
incredible.
The plants are my key to humidity. Mm-hmm. If I take those plants out and clean everything and I don't put them back the same day, the humidity really shows just overnight.
Well, I think even for like the smaller enclosures, a lot of us keep potted plants in them because for the same exact reason.
Yes.
You just have trees where we have little tiny.
I have both.
That's incredible though. Holy cow.
And our enclosures I keep fluval lights in there because my plants love those the best. And they do like other lights, but the fluvals don't get too hot, because they're made for aquariums and stuff. And the plants absolutely love them. But I do have to keep the lighting set at a low white and high blue and red because I have had shed trouble only when I first put the fluvels in on the bright setting.
That is
So,
amazing.
is that your house over there? You know where your house is?
It's literally like walking into a jungle. Like somebody else said,
Yes.
it looks like a jungle. That is
And then,
incredible.
well, also I'll finish on the enclosures. They have the fluval lights, and then we use the Pro Heat panels on the top.
Mhm.
We have the mister systems, and then these enclosures are special with rain, and it's all plumbed into the house. But we also have PVC enclosures that we've made with 1/2-inch PVC and plexiglass for the doors. And we also have like a cabinet, a big, huge, beautiful display cabinet, 5 foot by 6 foot by 2 foot. We got from a salon that we transferred into a really nice habitat.
Now, was it on your page that I saw you shared somebody's building enclosures right now?
Yes, somebody's shared. Yes, Tamura Design.
Yes.
And I actually just did a live video last night talking about like what would we do different if we when we do this again. And the thing that we would do different is we would have professionals do it, because we spent a lot of time and money trying to make all our dreams come true without having the proper equipment and materials and trial and error. So that's what we would do different. So now we're turning the next room, this downstairs down here it's on its own thermostat.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to go ahead and, sorry, buddy, utilize that to use more of the downstairs. You want to just let them go home here? You go home. So yes, they are building us a 12 condo thing for our upcoming babies.
Yeah, I saw with the forest overlay for the backgrounds. It's beautiful.
Yes,
Oh my
because
God, it's beautiful.
when I did these backgrounds, I took the 1/2-inch PVC board that we had left over and covered it with some photo backdrop paper that was really inexpensive that I got on Amazon, and then epoxied over it. So now all my backgrounds are super shiny. If I take pictures, it's like all shine. My infrared cameras at night leave a big old blob of white. So theirs are printed right on their PVC material. Yeah. So that's incredible. This is the stud of our jungle room, Cassius Clay. And he is the same age as Nangishsida, who's here in my hand. So you can see how the females are larger usually. But Zoltus, he's older and he's just extra big anyway. But this is a male. Most of the males seem to be more this size. And he will fight with the males and mate with the females. So if we're unsure about a sex, we just put it near Cassius Clay and see how he responds. But so far, he's been the father of both of our litters. So the upcoming one and the one that we have our little sweet Peo from.
That's awesome. He's pretty
yes.
too.
And then the whole room in here, if anybody's seen any of my stuff, it's on my first video for all my social medias, is this room. And the whole ceiling is covered with vines. So these animals get to come out and interact with each other. And it was really interesting to watch the interaction as they got older, because when they were younger, they could stay out all for days and days, weeks even. Or longer, they could just permanently have the choice to go in or out of the enclosures. And they all interacted so beautifully. And then all of a sudden, there started being like these big yellow movements on my nighttime camera. And I would look, and like another one over there, Bella, was like literally jumping. I have a whole folder on my computer full of footage of Bella jumping on other snakes. Like literally her whole body just goes whoop onto the next vine, and he would wrap around. And so we thought he was trying to mate with everybody, because he was also wrapping around me and doing the seduction tail thing. So he was just trying to mate with everybody. But at that time we thought he was a female. And then he turned out to be a male. So as they got older and they started to sexually mature, their interactions completely changed. So that was fun to watch them all kind of grow up together, interacting that way.
Now, is it similar behaviors than what you see when you're in these other locations, observing them in the wild, so to speak, or is it slightly different?
It's rare. My friends who have been, you know, because in Suriname and Guyana, it's legal to export. So I have very good friends who spent an entire lifetime, you know, making their living in the interior of the jungle by hunting. And all hunters and fishermen out there, if they see these guys in the trees, they take them and put them in a bag because that's, you know, that's good money. So that's extra money, like a bonus for your hunt. So they know where to find these guys. And so all of these guys that I talk to, I would say I've heard maybe less than a dozen stories, or, you know, like one person will say it happened to me twice, for finding multiple emeralds in a tree. So no, as far as these guys are seeing them, that doesn't mean it's not happening. Because I'm sure they are breeding. I have pictures and videos, again, on my whole folder full of interactions out here. And I have where they have this whole room and all of these enclosures, and 5 of them are piled up in one spot where there's no resource, no heat, no mist, no nothing, just all curled up, you know, like really close to each other with a tail laying across 3 of them. You know, stuff like that. So they're more social than we give them credit for, I think. I see. That's my experience. I can only speak of my experience.
They're
And
all so chill in your hands. It's awesome.
yes, Zeltis was ready to go, but Zeltis likes to be held alone. If you just hold him by yourself, he'll just sit on your neck and relax. But when you mix him with the other animals, he gets like that. But these guys are good together.
That is
and
incredible.
they've mated. These 2 have mated.
In your hands. Or no, that was a different couple.
No, that was these 2 as well. They were the second ones to do it.
That is so awesome. So how many more do you plan on adding, or do you have a number that you plan on adding to the group, or just as it goes and you guys fall in love with another one?
I don't want to keep adding them because I already feel like I have too many, because I really, I'll just hold him for a minute and then I'll let him go. This was our very first one right here, who we adopted as a female, but it turns out is a male. I really like these are all potty trained. That's why they all just came out of the rain shower, because we put them in the rain before we handle them to make sure that they're good and pooped. And we only handle them, you know, like right now it's 2.5 weeks since they ate. And I have a big event tomorrow. They're all coming out. So tomorrow they have to all be ready. And I like being able to put them in the rain chamber and handle them and turn them into ambassadors. But it's addicting. As I'm sure everybody who's watching here who keeps reptiles knows. I mean, it's really hard to stop when somebody offers you one, or you know, you just can't say no. I mean, I haven't even been able to say no to northerns. And for folks who don't know, northerns can be legally exported up to this day, and basins haven't been able to be legally exported, as far as I know, since maybe the early 90s. They were still doing some, but I think mostly through the 70s. So they're hard to get. They're difficult to breed, they say, or, you know, to get a good litter. Here, you can take Azzy. Azzy doesn't want to play with everybody. Okay, thanks, love. These 2 are good though. So I don't remember what I was saying.
We were talking about whether you ever thought about adding more. And then.
Yes. Well, we were about to have those babies, and how am I going to part with one? I have no earthly idea. People keep asking me, what are you going to do with the babies? Well, I'm at this point, I'm just going to love them.
Yeah.
And I have, you know, their nice little enclosures that you saw Timura, I hope I'm saying that right, is building for us. And I would like to keep our first litter a bit and see, you know, like just get experience working with the babies, seeing how they change and, you know, the different things which I have with Peo, but Peo was, you know, just one. So it'll be different. And then if I decide to part with anybody, I have all kinds of ideas what I'm going to do, but they are not going online for sale or something like that.
Yeah, of course. No, I think
So
you
I
would
don't
want
know
to keep
how
your
many.
babies close with people who you know and trust would do right by them. So
Yes.
I could
So
understand.
people are asking that. Oh,
Yeah,
people
they
are
want
asking about
to be on the
these.
room. Oh, the sticks.
Yes. These sticks, can you see them?
Yeah,
Can you
you can
show
see
them?
them. You can see them on
Okay, all
the
the way
sides
to
of the
the
screen.
heads.
No, you can't see the heads on our screen on our side.
There's a girl named Michelle Maddox, and I found her on Facebook. She does all kinds of cool, show this one now, all kinds of cool reptile art. And I found this stick at a garage sale. And okay, that's all right. You can just put it back on me.
The
I
whole room
found
is
this.
beautiful. Like,
Thank you. And I'll scan the room. I heard you say that at the last second a minute ago, and we will. But this right here, I found this stick at a garage sale. And I sent Michelle a message with the stick, and I said, do you think you could carve an emerald on that? She's like, oh, I would love to try. And she did. And it's just gorgeous. So then I found another stick, and I sent it to her. And the other one, she did a double emerald. And it's just magnificent. And then Michelle Maddox, Maddix, and she does have another last name, but that's her first two names, Michelle Maddox. But look, she also, my husband loves Gaboon Vipers because we met one time and it sounded so amazing and it was so beautiful. So I messaged Maddox and asked her if she could make him a Gaboon, and she did.
she does good
And
work.
right now she's working on some more stuff for us. She's just one of our favorite artists.
That is awesome.
One of them. Of course, Ron Rundo, who does snakescapes. He's
Oh my gosh. That's another one. Those are incredible too.
out of this world, isn't it? What he does.
So he did that whole piece there.
Yes.
Which
way should I go? This way?
You're good. Yep, right there. No, that is amazing.
It's beautiful. And then my girlfriend, see the perches up there at the top?
Yeah.
Those were vertical, removable perches in an enclosure that we had, and we took it apart to build this little corner space. So those were vertical, removable perches. And then my girlfriend, Allison, painted this mural for us in the background. Anyway, I could go on and on. I have so much amazing art in here from my friends. That's the amazing thing.
I think everybody can appreciate it. And I think a lot of us are art junkies too. And I think there's a lot of reptile rooms that have some sort of art.
Yes.
That is amazing though. Holy cow. Your room is like goals.
Thank you. Sure. It has been for us too. You know, we started with that little first one that you saw earlier as a little red baby in an aquarium with a little heat light and a screen. And, you know, I'm just learning stuff on Facebook, and then everybody has a different thing to say. So I told my husband, I just have this real like longing inside me to go see their natural environment. Yeah. So I did. And I went to kind of central Peru, and I found my very first emerald was a basin I found there in a place where they had assured me that I would not find one. And I said, that's okay. I just want to come and see what their environment's like. Yeah. And then I get there, and all the groups, it was a research group, and they're all looking for these tarantulas because the girl studying arachnids from Britain was there. And they were all looking at the tarantulas, and all of a sudden I said, I think I found one. I found one. And they said, oh, it's a vine snake. And I said, and I don't know anything about snakes at this time. I don't even know. And I'll tell you how much I didn't know is when they said it's a vine snake. And I said, well, it's really fat for a vine snake, because we had already seen one of those. And then I said, but it could be a python. I didn't know pythons and boas come from completely different places. So that's how much I knew when I found my first Batisi in the wild.
That's awesome. So how long ago
Yeah.
did you start actually traveling to see their natural environments?
My first trip was in June of 2021. And like I said, I've done 11 trips now to the Amazon rainforest. And a more specific part of the Amazon rainforest that I mostly travel to is the Guyana Shield in Suriname.
That is awesome. And does
Yes.
hubby go with you too sometimes, or
Nope.
no?
He always says he's going to go. He's even bought all the equipment to go, bought his plane ticket even. And then he's like, oh God, you know, he doesn't want to sleep in a hammock and shower in the river and, you know, sit on a boat for 12 hours and be in the hot humidity. So I told him, I said, lover, if you truly, truly don't want to go. And even my brother and my daughter were going with me. And that's why he was going. And he just doesn't want to, but he loves that I do.
I can see his point though, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
I know a lot of people can.
the humidity, the mosquitoes, you know.
Oh yeah, he sees me come back covered in bites, every part of me, all kinds of bites.
Yeah,
so
I could see his
he was
point.
doing it to be nice. He doesn't have to. It's okay. It's okay.
But then you come back and you guys share all the memories you made, and
oh yeah, he just
works.
gets on my phone and he watches every video, listens to everything. He totally lives it, and he knows all the people.
I watched one of your recent ones where you went with Dave Kaufman.
Mm-hmm. He went on one of my Suriname trips.
Yes, that was awesome watching that and how calm those animals were, and just as calm as the ones are in your hands currently. That was an amazing episode.
Well, an interesting thing I do that people like to hear about when I go there is that like I said, the hunters and the trappers, the fishermen, everybody who sees one of these snakes, it's the bonus. Mm-hmm. So they grab it. And so anytime I see those hunters, fishermen, anybody out on the river, we always stop and ask them, do you have any emeralds? Or, you know, I'll take any snakes they have just because my heart wants me. I can't leave one behind. So I will buy all of their snakes, which an emerald out there costs about $30. Well, it used to be less. It used to be $15, but now it's $30. And so I take them, they take the US money, they're happy to take it. And I buy any snakes that they have. And then also when I'm in the village before we head out to the river, because it takes 3 days to get out there. So you have to start in the big city and then you have to travel on boats and buses and however you can to get out to the interior, and sometimes in vehicles for 27 hours. It's just really rough to get out there. So when I get all the way out to the little villages, there are men who the trappers bring the snakes to, and then those men, the middlemen, they call them, sell their batch of snakes to the exporters in the big city. So when I get to the village, I know these guys and I go around and ask everybody who has snakes. Mm-hmm. Some of them are willing to give them to me and some people are not. You know, I pay the same price that the exporters pay, which is now $50 for an emerald. And I buy those snakes, even though those exporters who are supposed to get those snakes are my friends. And even though they do not appreciate what I'm doing, they're still my friends. And I love them very much for that. Thank you for letting me have my little bit of pleasure with that. And it's, you know, like really kind of money out of their pocket. So the fact that they're still my friends and I always get to visit them, I'm very happy about that. Yeah, advertisement, because they're the best exporters. They take such good care of their animals. And so when I get all these emeralds together, I kind of went backwards. I start off in the village. I take all the emeralds from the middlemen, and then I throw a party, which a lot of people have seen my emerald ambassador parties I do in Suriname, where I use wild caught emerald tree boas and I tame them, and then I let all the locals hold them, the children, the elderly, and all the healthy young folks can hold them, and all the people who are scared, like, for example, the children. And on the last trip, my brother was just in awe, because for me, it's just what I do. And, I have a whole group of, 12 children going, no, 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 screaming and jumping back. And I get my teacher voice on and I tell them that is not how we behave. And by the time it's all over, in less than an hour, the kids are passing emeralds back and forth, begging that it's their turn, keeping their hands still, not moving too much. So it all just goes really nicely. And then I take all those ambassador emeralds that we used in the village, all of the animals that I find out on the river, and then on our last day, we get to our farthest place up the river, and we have different places we know where the fishermen and the hunters don't typically travel, because there's so many big rocks in the water, and there's just an abundance of resources there. Lots of the kind of trees that the rats eat the fruit of. So anywhere we can find those fruits, we know that the emeralds have resources. And so we put all of those emeralds out there. A controversial thing that we do is that when we're on the river, when we're in high traffic areas at night, we will take any emeralds that we see, and we will also take those to the less used places. And that's because if they're sitting right there out on the river and we can see them with the flashlight, so is the next guy. So we just figure, even though taking that animal out of its place and putting it in another place isn't the best thing for the animal, in my heart, I just feel like it's better than his chances of getting in the bag. So my last trip I just did like 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I just got back. We released 7 emeralds back to the wild.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So it's a big part of this is the education piece of it for you.
Yes. For me, the education is, of course, I always talk to the people about, it's good to be scared of snakes. Just be scared of all of them if you don't know, because there are some very dangerous ones. But, there are other people who don't put snakes in bags, but they get a shovel, just like anywhere in the US. Like this is a king snake. They find them in their bathroom and on their porch and, in their trees and their bushes. So that's the best thing. And also, there have been a lot of people turned that were so scared and wouldn't touch the snake to couldn't put it down. And now they just want to have it for a pet. So, and my education in the wild, that's what it is just to show the people that these animals are, they're our friends. And in the real life, well, my husband says that in the jungle, it's my avatar, because I am too bougie to live like that. And he doesn't know who the heck that is out there. Because I do like my creature comforts, but for the chance to see one of these guys in the wild, I give it all up. But my greatest education the skin around my head just shrinks when I think about it, is just that I wish that these animals, and all the animals, especially reptiles, I think they're so undertreated in so many cases they don't get any enrichment. And these guys love smells. They love just putting something new in their enclosure. They will go see that night. I have a video on Facebook where I had like 5 of them out roaming, and I did a time lapse, and they're everywhere. Well, during that time, I came into the room and I added a vine to the thing, because I wanted to have a guide for them to go back into an enclosure. And so I came in and added that vine, and one by one, every single one of those emeralds, when I turned the light off and left the room, came to see what I did. So they are super inquisitive, and people think they don't like love and attention, but when I open the door for these animals, they are either going to go in the rain chamber, they're going to get food, or they're going to be ambassadors. So they don't seem stressed at any of those things. So,
how do you have your rain chamber set up for them? Since I know a lot of us with the boreals use a rain chamber of some sort. Oh, are we going to pan the camera again? Do we have the rain chamber in the room?
My husband said, no, don't make me keep doing that. He doesn't, he said he doesn't have the long cord on the camera.
Oh,
But if you do search Amy Benzie rain chamber, I'm sure stuff will come up on any of them. I don't usually hardly post anything on Instagram or TikTok, but Facebook, I post everything and some stuff on YouTube. But I have a full water system that comes from our hot water and cold water out of the house. The hot water heater has a booster on it so that it can just trickle warm all day if we want to, which we do. And then we have a really nice photo developing piece of equipment. He can't help it. He has to show you. Oh, because he said, I can't get to the rain chamber in the other room, but he can get to this equipment I'm talking about. So I'll wait till he gets over there. The photo developing equipment helps to keep the temperature regulated so the temperature does not change. It can stay right at 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
I love your job.
And then the two filters below that are RV filters just for water. So the hot and cold water is filtered separate. So that runs, show them the hoses down there. There are two hoses. One's a sprayer that I can use in the whole room. And the other hose runs all the way down the hallway to the other room where the rain chamber is. Look, there's Isis. That's the big case I told you that we got off Facebook Swap Shop. And it was a display case at a salon. And I've just filled her enclosure with all different kinds of, I use soaker hose vines are my favorite. Oh, I was saying about the education.
That is awesome.
The vines are a big deal. When we look for these guys in the wild, if we pass by trees, no matter what the trees are, if there are no vine systems in the trees, we don't even bother. We just look, because we're going by it. But that's our baby, Peo. He's just a baby. He's about to shed. So he's really light, but he's a beautiful bright red. Just pan the whole room while you have it. Show him the ceiling.
I mean, this room is like a dream.
I have this
amazing. Now, for the vines that you have strung across like your ceiling, what kind of vines are those?
Those are vines that we just go down to the river and we save trees by unwinding vines that are wrapped around their trunk, trying to smother them. And so we cut the vines down and bring them home. I power wash them. I shellac them with a copious amount of shellac and dry them and put them up there. When I first started doing the natural vines, I would power wash them and then I would bleach them, let them dry, bleach them for 3 days, let them dry, do all this stuff. But I find that power wash, dry, and a nice good amount of shellac is going to get rid of anything you're trying to get rid of.
Ro wants to know when's the next group trip.
Yeah, I'm always ready to take a trip. I'm always ready to take a trip. I have trips. I have a wonderful guide that I work with in Brazil and my guide in Suriname, and they're both my very good friends. And neither of them are official licensed guides. They're my friends, and they take us out. And Mark and I have traveled together 5 times in Suriname, and I even took him with me to Brazil to help me find the striped batisi because he's such a good snake finder. And he'd never been out of the country and he didn't have a passport. And he kept saying, for all my life, I can't believe that I got to travel to another country because of my snake finding skills. So, and another great thing about Suriname is that it's full English. 100% of the people speak perfect English. They know all of our nursery rhymes, our jokes, they have our humor. So communication is just really fun. No matter how deep you go into the jungle, if you run into miners or hunters, everybody speaks English. So Suriname is my absolute favorite.
Yeah, it makes it easy because then you don't have to worry about like cultural norms and what's okay, what's not versus our culture. So
yes, at least not as much of a difference, as like when I go to Brazil or one of the other places. What are we looking at?
That is insane. Look how beautiful.
And that's Azzy. Like I said, that was our very first one.
That is so freaking pretty. I love your room.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
I traveled. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You're good, babe. Go ahead.
Okay. I traveled the first time I went to Peru, and I stayed with a group of researchers at a camp, and it was, very nice. And I found my first Batisi, but I was just one of the people at the camp, and I wanted to be the one. So I didn't want to have to do what anybody told me, like they told me I couldn't touch the animal because it would be too stressed out. And, when I did finally get to touch her, I didn't get to be with her, it was just for pictures. And I really wanted a different experience. So there was a young man at that camp who was in charge of cleaning, sweeping the kitchen, sweeping the floors, cleaning the mud off everything, keeping the bathrooms clean. Well, he loved to play chess, and I'm a chess fanatic, and I'm a mathematics professor. So he took a lot of pride in playing chess with me. And even though he didn't speak any English and I don't speak Spanish, we played chess every single night at that camp. I was there for 1 month. At 6 p.m. and he never missed it. And he would tell everybody knew who came that I was a mathematics professor and he was playing chess with me. So I just fell in love with him, Reynaldo. And I invited Reynaldo because he is a kid who grew up in the jungle. At that time, he was in his early 20s. And he knew the jungle, and he had a really good outgoing personality, talked to everybody. So I told Reynaldo, all on my Google app, I translate whatever, and said, let's take a trip, just you and me, to the Amazon River and travel through Colombia, Brazil, and Peru and go look for these animals. And he's like, Amy, I am not a guide. I cannot do that. And I said, well, if you don't go with me, I'm going to go by myself. And I don't speak the language and I need you. And so we literally just showed up. We flew into Iquitos, and then he met me flew into Lima, and then he met me in Iquitos because he came from a different part of Peru. And then we traveled 12 hours on a boat to Caballo Cocha. We walked 8 hours to Santa Teresa through the muddy jungle. We did so much together. And I loved traveling with him so much that I went back and traveled with him again. And I took my girlfriend with me on that trip. And we did the same thing. And we just showed up at little tiny 6-house villages, showed up on a pier asking if any fishermen had ever seen this tree out there on the river because it has the fruit that the rats eat, and the snakes eat the rats, and we're looking for snakes. So that sounded crazy because in Peru, you're not allowed to export animals. So people are not out there looking for them. Like in Suriname, if you ask where they are, people don't want to tell you, or they'll tell you. But there, people are like, snakes? What? Do you want to look for snakes? So we had such a good time traveling across those 3 countries. It was incredible. And then in between the last 2 trips to Peru, I had put a thing out on Facebook asking if anybody knows where I can find northern emerald tree boas, because I wasn't finding anymore and I wanted to learn how. So I knew that people were allowed to find them in Suriname. No, I did not know that at this time. I never even heard of Suriname at that time. And for those of you who don't know where Suriname is, look on the map above Brazil, and you will see Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana, 3 little tiny countries up there on the tip. And so I found out all the stuff I told you about Suriname, and my friend set me up with one of his. He's one of the top exporters for good, healthy animals. He has a very good license, and he takes excellent care of his animals. And he set me up with his best trappers. And I went out with those guys, and it was really hard on my heart because there just wasn't the understanding what I was there for. And basically, I ended up just being on their hunting trip. And my friend even told me not to give them the full amount of money that I promised them because they weren't supposed to do that. But they took all the animals, they either put them in a cooler, shot them and put them in a cooler, put them in bags, boxes, lizards, turtles, every single solitary thing you can imagine, to take back to, because there are all different kinds of exporters who buy all different kinds of animals. So I went back and I told my friend, you know, I loved it. We found 5 emeralds. It was incredible. And I wasn't going to tell the things that upset me, because there were other things. For example, being left at camp alone night after night while they all went out hunting was scary. So he was super mad about that. And, you know, like, I just went out into the middle of the jungle with 3 hunter men that I never met in my life. So I did that because my friend who set me up with it is a very well-respected. There are so many rumors that people are like scared of him, but he's just a big teddy bear, you know? So I did feel safe out there. Those guys, you know, they would have never disrespected the other fella. So I still didn't want to go again because it was too much animal hard. It was really super hard for me.
Yeah.
I still can't get that out of my head. I've had to learn to, you know, process it every time. So he said, let me have another chance, and I'm going to set you up with my other best trappers. And now he makes, now that's Mark. And I've gone with Mark, like I said, now 6 trips together, 5 in Suriname. And now my friend has something he always likes to say, is that I set her up with my best trappers and she turns them into conservationists. So like I said, I do step on their toes, but they still love me, thankfully. And then go ahead. Ask me questions.
You're fine. No, you're fine. Randy was asking what, because you posted in one of the Amazon tree boa groups that you had found a black Amazon tree boa while you were on one of your trips. And he was asking about that.
Yes, I sure did. I did not actually find that baby, although if you see my stuff, we find like 30 Amazon tree boas a night. We just count them. If they have a really good color, then we will move them. Like I said, we do with the emeralds, because the hunters will take any colored, they call them cooks boas up there, but they'll take any colored cooks, any colored Amazon tree boa. So we also do relocate those. So you can see me with red and orange and yellow babies on a lot of my videos, and that's why. But that little black one, actually someone else caught that animal like right before I got there. And so they were so excited to send me the message, look what I have. And I was actually going to make it my very first Amazon tree boa that I ever, or my very first animal that I ever took out of the jungle. I had considered taking her or him, we don't know, because they were injured. The guy who found it, it was a little tiny black thing. So he thought it was a fer-de-lance, which they also have another name for there that I can't remember right now. And so he did injure the animal, but it is just a side flesh wound and the animal's perfectly fine now. So I thought about taking her. It was going to cost a lot of money to export this little black thing. It was so cute. And so I posted on the Amazon tree boa group to gauge the rarity of her. You know, even though I knew she was rare, I'd never seen one. Other people had told me they'd seen them. But it turns out that it was a leopard, and it was just small and very dark. So it was 100% a leopard Amazon tree boa. And my friend in Paramaribo now has her, and he's built her a beautiful little space, and he's keeping her for now. So I will not be taking that animal home. And her name is Zwarte, which means blackie in Dutch. And Dutch is the national language of Suriname.
She was super dark.
Yes.
I saw that.
Oh, did you see her too, Jen?
I saw that post. Yeah. Well, like as some know, I kind of got sucked into the dark side not very long ago. So I have acquired quite the little group of Amazon.
How many are you
going
to get?
One from Randy too.
What's your cutoff number? What'd you say?
I got one from Randy. It's actually named Randy Jr. is what's on its card.
Here, love, you can take cash. That's so cute.
I don't know. I don't think I necessarily have a cutoff number. I would say there's certain genetics that I want in my little pool. So I think once I get those genetics, then I'll stop there. But I do that in green trees now. So
Until the next thing, until you start with these.
so I did consider one, and then I got looped in on the Amazons first. So to be determined. But yeah, no, I've considered those two, honestly. We'll see how it goes. One thing at a time, right?
Yes. I've actually never seen, well, that's not true because I've been to those reptile expos. So I've seen them. I've never held a green tree python.
Yeah.
So I don't know like how, to me, the emeralds look tougher. Like I see a lot more muscle tone, but.
Yeah, they look a little meaner. Hold on, I can slide one up.
You're such a good girl. Yes, you are. I love you.
I'm your friend.
We're going to see a green tree python.
Come on, little friend.
Oh, very sweet. And do they have a reputation for being snappy too? Because
for me, it's case by case. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus on her. She, for the most part, is pretty relaxed. I mean, obviously, right now she's like, "Wait a minute, are you going to feed me?" But for the most part, you're going to double back on me. Yeah. Hi.
Do they have big teeth too?
Not as big as your emeralds. No. I mean, they'll still knock a bite for sure. But
yes.
Hi, baby.
Oh my gosh! Look at us two girls with our little green snakes in our face. We're so cute.
This was my first green tree. I actually got her from Bill Stiegel.
What's her name?
Addiction. Of course, because I got her and I was like, I'm hooked. But no, zero regrets on getting into the arboreal stuff. But she's super chill. I do have other green trees, though. I have one that's in with a female right now. I couldn't handle him to save my life. He will try to nail me every single time. But they're amazing. These are such an amazing species too. That's kind of, honestly, like I said, it's what got me into them to begin with. Are you gonna come off the perch a little bit?
Look,
but yeah, not nearly the teeth size as yours has. But I mean,
feel
as
like
you can see,
that's watching.
Yeah.
Addiction.
I mean, as you can see, like even she will come off, and I just kind of let them gauge it if they're going to come off their perch or not. I kind of let it just be truly up to them.
Yes.
And I mean, you can tell all of them with their body language if they're going to be okay with it or not okay with it. So.
Yes.
Hi, baby.
Sweet things.
Love her for sure.
She's definitely very lovey.
Yeah, she's very inquisitive.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I have even like I have a big 5-year-old Biak female that she's calm, cool, and collected. Oh, there we go. I came off the perch. No issues. Once I get her like perch out of the enclosure, she's good to go. So, but like with you just takes time and trust and handling and
yes,
understanding body language. But
yes,
I feel like
that's
breaking
the
the stigma. I do, because the stigma with all of these is that they're not able to be handled, and so I do like breaking that stigma 110%.
Well, one time somebody told me that they, like lots of people tell me these animals don't want to be held. My friend told me that if he ever sees them write it in black and white that they're actually happy, he'll believe it. Like the definition of happy is relaxed and content. This is happy. But they just respond well to being held.
To answer Ghost, your question for what perches these are actually These are reptile perches, and then with his branch extensions. And then I just cut them down to fit into my condo enclosures. So they're whatever the shortest one is that he sells, and then I cut them down a little shorter.
Perfect.
So, all right, Amy, is there anything else, any advice you would give anybody who's looking to get into emeralds?
Yes, please offer them a vine system and not just a couple of perches. They really like to rest their body on all different levels, and if they even just have a small space filled with a vine system, they can feel like they're slithering far and long, which they cover this entire room all night long. And in the wild, they travel long distances. They love to slither and move, and they like to have new smells. So have a plant maybe that you change plants from different enclosures, different things to just stimulate them, because they're very stimulatable. So plenty of slither space, a nice big thing of water, because they do like to get in their water. And that.
Perfect. I'm going to throw you backstage real quick. I'm just going to wrap up, and then I'll join you, okay?
Thanks, everybody. It was great to be here today. We'll see you again.
Thank you. All right, everyone. And with that, thank you so much for the questions, for everybody engaging in this and helping make it another great live. This was fun, definitely fun. And thank you, Amy, for coming on. See you guys next week.
Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
From the shadows we move, striking out bright. In every twist we find the light. Breeding the best, gotta have patience in this game. Chondro Corner, where we make our name. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow.